Hello, welcome to the Morning Mario. It's the 12th of March. I'm Jackson Tyler, and here we go. And we're going to use the warp. Whew, I haven't had any sleep today. We're going to use the warp zone to get to World 3 today. So here we go. So, what I want to talk about today is why I don't like Mario, or why I think Mario is bad for me, or why Mario makes me feel like total shit all the time. And the reason is very simple. It comes to do with what Mario the game is, and that to me is not a platformer or anything. Even though that's how you interact with it, that's not what the game, how the game emotionally connects with you on any level. What the game emotionally does is a game about processing failure, because it's just a coin-op design of give you a goal and then make the goal difficult to complete. Thus, when you do not complete the goal, you'll feel angry and frustrated, and you'll be like, "Oh, give me the next quarter," and I'm gonna do this. Just need one more quarter. It's a gambling style thing, which is why I question how healthy a game design thing it is. I don't think that way of looking at interaction is valuable. Honestly, I don't like it. I've never liked it. I guess some of my favorite games are that, but when I think of games that reject that, I think of Burnout Paradise, I think of Skate, these systems of self-expression, which do technically have challenges with the way they frame them, and puts them in this way where everything is valid. Because in a Mario level, in any game of Mario, there's only one valid ending. It's when I beat the boss, and there are 1,000 invalid endings where I fail, and all of those could be seen as wasted time, or just they're failures. I can't come out of them feeling good. I come out of each of them feeling just deflated and annoyed. So Mario is already becoming to me this game about processing that and managing that and dealing with that. Thank God. Because if you saw last week, or yesterday, not last week, I did really well. I got to the end boss of World 2, but there were moments where all my doing well could be thrown in the pit, and I just died horribly and lost all my items and lost my fire flower and everything. It was really, really frustrating. And in a game that's rigidly built without the way to put money into it in order to resolve that frustration, there's nowhere for it to go. So if you transpose arcade game design into this hard lives NES era style of how video games did, how video games did, then you lose the gambling aspect, and it just becomes this really incredibly frustrating. Come on, yep. That's where that is. Alright. Yeah, it becomes this incredibly frustrating game where you die a lot, and each time you die you have to deal with the fact that that was another failure, that every time I've played this it has been a failure, and that's what Mario's about, reconciling that to me, and I struggle with that a lot. I have never, like I say, my favourite game, Burnout Paradise, and Skate 2, those are games which reject that, and those systems that they give you for self-expression are loose and open, and when you engage with them, you are not forced to do any activity, even if there is one right there, open to you. It's not such a linear yes or no, did you do the thing, so it allows you to engage with it in a way that I consider more productive. I feel games getting away from the idea of lose states, or having every state but one be a lose state, that would be a great thing. when they finally do that. Nope, nope, cool. God forbid something go right. See, like, but just them. And just them. What you have is example of something going wrong. In Mario, when something goes wrong, that's it. Something has gone real wrong, and that'll mess you up. Come on. Because when I fall down a pit, and I lose a life, that's like one step closer to actually failing, and I don't have the items anymore, and that's me done. I have to deal with that. And that's not fun. And I didn't grow up in the era where that was expected. I didn't, like, when I was a kid and then I got into games, I wasn't happy. I mean, I'm not happy now, but like, I'm not, I get to the point I've never been a happy person. Like, haven't really enjoyed stuff. Which means when games present themselves as being about failure, I don't want that. Christ. Because I don't enjoy the reward. I don't want the reward. By which I mean I don't care if I can like beat a thing. Like the feeling of losing, the feeling of like, oh, it's satisfying. Oh, I tried so hard and now I finally made it to the part where the part where I beat it. Like, I don't find that super satisfying, at least in a manner that outweighs the frustration that came before it. That's not how I interact with anything, because like I said, I was depressed as a child, and I still am, and like my way as a kid, which I know this is toxic, I'm not recommending this, but this is what I'm dealing with, and this is why it's this whole thing is difficult for me. But nice. World 3 done. World 3 is done. Alright. Thank you. My way of dealing with failure was to also, like, I don't like failing. Failing is bad. When things go wrong, that is bad. I can recognize that. And my way of dealing with that was to also say, therefore, when things go right, that is also bad. Because you can't have one without the other. And if we just didn't like define our interactions that way, we would all be happier. That was my, when I was younger, that was like my big fuck sports things. Like, I don't like competition. I don't like anything where one person loses at someone else's expense, or that one person wins at someone else's expense. And so when I'm playing Mario, and like yesterday, and I lose my progress and something happens and I die, it's super frustrating, and I really struggle handling that, because that's not what I want with my life. I don't want to just fail all the time. Like, that's not how I want to spend my spare time. I don't understand why anyone would. Like, that feeling that gives me that moment when I actually run to a thing, it's like, oh, like it's way out of proportion to how shitty it should make me feel, which is more like, oh, I mean, I assume, I don't know how everyone else deals with it, I don't know how much it affects people, but like, part of my Asperger's is this worldview that struggles with change, and like when expectations and reality don't match up. And one of the ways that happens is in games like this. Like, if I run into a thing and everything goes wrong, I run into a pit, like, that's change. That's a bad change. That's a change that I don't like. So it's like, affects me in a way that it really shouldn't, and I don't want it to, and I don't enjoy. So I don't. Let me see if there's there. Is there a thing somewhere? No. Well. Anyway. I guess my point is, I'm going to wrap it up here. I guess my point is that that's what Mario is. It's a game about failure, and it's something that I've intensely struggled with all my life, especially as someone who's a very unhappy child, someone whose development was like, as a kid, I was like the most open and earnest person you could ever imagine, and I was bullied and rejected by, like, I didn't have someone I would consider a friend until I hit 15. Like, that's how my emotional development went. So a game like Mario, which taps into these binary ideas of success and failure, which I associate with these painful feelings, and like put way too much emotional investment in, like, it's difficult for me. It's not fun, especially as every single morning Mario is going to end with a failure. I can't set my goal and say, okay, I'm going to play until I reach. That would be different if I said I'm going to play until I reach the end of the world, and then that's the end of it. That I probably wouldn't feel so frustrated by failure, because the failure is mitigated. The failure can, like, I can move on. I can just try until I reach the end of the world, and then I can close the game, and there wouldn't be any consequence. But by setting up these rules in which time is limited, and I have these very hard limits on how I can approach the game, it becomes just every single day I play Mario until I fail at it. And it's a very depressing thing. That's why I get self-conscious about how frustrated I get when I die or when something goes wrong, because like these aren't emotions that game from the 80s that's for jumping on things should really be tapping into, and I guess they could be tapping into, but I don't really want them to be. I don't think it's helpful. But I talked to Matt about this earlier. It was like, this will be good. This is like a way of confronting that thing. You can use Mario as some sort of like way to feel through that, and I guess that's a way of feeling better about it. But and I hope it was. I hope that's what happens. But I really needed to talk about it openly, so people watching understood why playing Mario was this emotionally taxing task, and why like why last episode I was like, oh fuck, when I died, in a way that I honestly feel is disproportionate. Maybe it's how everyone reacts, but then we're getting into like my insecurities about a lot of other things, and there's not. I feel like I framed this right. I've framed this now. We can go on. We can continue into a peaceful, calm future, and I don't have to feel like I'm hiding this part of myself for this silly video game. It's just a silly video game. Who cares? So hopefully you enjoyed that talk. Enjoyed, quote unquote. Hopefully that was a talk that you found useful in understanding where I come from. When I'm approaching this, I'm way too tired, so it's probably rambling nonsense, but I hope it made sense, and I hope you keep watching, and maybe when I complete Mario I'll have reached some zen state where I'm able to feel okay about everything, but I highly doubt that, because with all my disorders and the way I grew up, it's baked in deep. Mario is not a professional therapist. He can unblock your brain, but he can't unblock your mind. Good morning, everybody.